today we're diving into a story that could have been one of the coolest crossovers in gaming history. The Master Chief and Doomslayer teaming up or possibly locked in an epic battle. Two of the most legendary characters in gaming brought together for an epic, action-packed adventure. Sounds awesome, right? Well, don't get your hopes up because it's not happening. And if you're wondering why, well, the answer lies in a long, painful history of mismanagement and corporate insecurity that's plagued the Halo franchise for over a decade. So what's the deal? Recently, executives Tim Miller and Dave Wilson over at Secret Level, a new Amazon Prime series diving into gaming culture, pitched an idea for a Master Chief and Doomslayer crossover episode.
I'll tell you, I'll sell one more there just because I know we got to go. But Dave and I pitched this hard. But my favorite comics when I was a kid was the crossover comics. It'd be like Justice League fights the Avengers. And you know why? And we pitched hard to do like a crossover within universes. Like, why can't Doomslayer fight Master Chief? But even if we could do cross universe, like PlayStation characters against Xbox characters, or within these worlds, I think that would be amazing. But
a lot of exciting possibilities for future seasons right there.
Totally. I think fans would go ape shit. Yeah. I mean, the first question people ask is who's going to pay for that? But I think if fans love it, we'll find a way.
While this idea would sound like a dream come true to many, Microsoft shut it down immediately. Why? Because Halo's reputation is in such a fragile state that they simply cannot afford to share it with anything remotely risky. And honestly, who can blame them after all that's happened to the franchise under 343 Industries? Of course, the community were quick to blame Microsoft for shutting down the idea, claiming it's all Microsoft's fault, like they always do. Because let's be honest here, this outrage conveniently ignores the damage 343 have done to the franchise over the past decade. It's not about Microsoft being stingy. This is about 343's consistent failures, creating this insecurity about who Microsoft can trust with the IP. And can you blame them for being cautious after all these blunders? The franchise is on thin ice as it is. Let's rewind back to the Bungie days when Halo was untouchable. It was the gold standard for console shooters with an incredible legacy that defined the Xbox brand. Then Microsoft handed the keys to 343 Industries.
Thank you to Bungie for creating this epic sci-fi world that I have the honor of stewarding. Thank you to Phil Spencer, Shane Kim, and Matt Booty for having faith in me and giving me the keys to this extraordinary world.
A progressive studio that took control over the franchise when, according to Kiki Wolfkill, they didn't even have a studio to work in. Fast forward to now, and what do we have? A trilogy that limped along over 10 years of mass incompetence. An obvious focus on diversity quotas, employing underqualified women for the sake of inclusion in an effort to dismantle the patriarchy, leaning heavily on soft progressive feminist bitch boys, and a constant abuse of Microsoft's 18-month contractor policy because none of these people have the skills or capacity to actually do the job, eventually turning their studio into one big left-wing social space where none of them do any real work because there is no testosterone in this environment. Halo is just another casualty in this very long list of leftist culture war crimes. Halo Infinite was supposed to be this grand return to form. Instead, it launched as a half-baked mess with an unfinished campaign that felt like a shadow of its predecessors and a multiplayer plagued by uninspired design and corporate greed. And don't even get me started on how long it took them to patch in basic features like co-op and forge mode. 7 years development, over $500 million, support from 5 other developers, over 1,200 people working on the damn game. This isn't just incompetence, this is a cultural issue. The gaming industry, and especially 343 and their fan base, are compromised by this left-wing progressive culture that prioritizes virtue signaling over actual talent and creativity. Instead of focusing on hiring the best people to build these amazing projects, they're obsessed with hitting diversity quotas and pushing social agendas, and the results speak for themselves. Halo has gone from being a flagship franchise to becoming an embarrassing liability, thanks to left-wing progressives. Meanwhile, if we look at Doom, ID Software's team knocked it out the park with Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. They've kept the series true to its roots while innovating in ways that feel natural and exciting. Doomslayer's lore has expanded, but they've never sacrificed the core of what makes the series great. Ironically, the team at ID Software don't seem to prioritize social agendas because they respect gender norms, their badass male protagonist, and their mostly male target audience. But again, imagine how incredible it would be to see the Master Chief and Doomslayer side by side, battling hordes of Covenant and demons to eventually cross each other in what would be an epic showdown, trading between weapons, equipment, and vehicles between the two games. We could have seen explosive hand-to-hand combat, completely tearing down cities in the process, from one arena to the next, with fast-paced vehicle combat and chase downs. The possibilities with this crossover are huge. The fact that the episode would have borrowed these characters for a mere 10 to 20 minutes would have guaranteed a safer and acceptable exposition rather than the 2 full seasons of straight BS we saw from the TV show, which arguably killed the Halo franchise. And I have to admit, I myself was very skeptical about the plans for this episode, given that the current state of the gaming landscape is currently overrun by left-wing progressive activists. They've basically turned the whole industry into one big financial sinkhole. Once critically acclaimed titles, now mediocre woke slop because feminists keep trying to subvert gender norms, and because of broken employment processes that aim to funnel in progressive idiots through the left-wing litmus test and DEI policies, only guarantees that underqualified women will be placed in leading roles, emasculate men and neurodivergent idiots get the priority and continue to ruin these brands. But I was honestly relieved to see 2 men with a deep understanding of the games world passionate about bringing these characters to life, and I found the more I watched the 2, the more I became genuinely interested in what they were trying to do with the series. So it's become abundantly clear to me that this dream died the moment 343 tarnished Halo's legacy, not simply because of Microsoft, like all these left-wing channels would have you believe. And now Microsoft is playing defense. They know the brand is in trouble and they're terrified of taking risks. This is what happens when your franchise gets prostituted out to mediocrity, which, according to Frank O'Connor, is kind of like choosing porn.
I'm Marty.
Oh, hello everyone, I'm Marty O'Donnell, and I make music, beautiful music that you love to listen.
What is
It's
that?
hard to sustain those notes when you smoke 30 into Halo 2. It goes like this. Everybody, I'm Marty O'Donnell. Yes, I'm working on the soundtrack for... It's going to be terribly musically accomplished and... What are you doing in here? This is,
We're
space.
doing a tour of the
What are you doing with that belt then? I think that's even my other belt. I don't think you got,
My best soundtrack?
you don't have a belt. Frank, take that off. I've told you before. Take that hat off. Get out of my chair. Alright. You guys need to clear out of here.
A community post blogger who was somehow promoted to franchise director by a woman who had no business, no qualifications working on this franchise. Crossovers with Fortnite, Rainbow Six Siege, a series of toys which made Halo look like cheap shit, and a disastrous Paramount Plus TV show directed by women who used the show as a canvas to portray their vision of the ideal man, molding Pablo Schreiber into an emotional bitch who takes off way more than just his helmet, is killed in the first season with his corpse controlled by a woman for some reason. It doesn't get more retarded than that, and I'm honestly tired of this industry-wide menstrual cycle that fails to deliver on basic things like this. Halo isn't a shining beacon anymore. It's a cautionary tale. This is what left-wing culture does to a franchise. It kills it from within.
Everything woke turns to shit, okay?
And let's talk about that elephant in the room for a second. The Master Chief's image. Under 343 Industries, he's been consistently beaten down, both figuratively and literally. Every game seems determined to show him as this weak, broken irrelevance. Every project by 343 Industries, the Chief is beaten down consistently or failing. And this is obviously because the left-wing progressives in these studios have some weirdo emasculation fetish. This image right here is the best reflection for what these idiots have done to the Master Chief and the Halo brand. This erectile dysfunction has no masculinity. There is no testosterone here because there are no men working on these projects. So there's no real talent driving this brand forward. And when your Xbox president is a female, it's not hard to see why she thought this garbage was acceptable to post. This emasculate character 343 have produced is a reflection of the wider cultural issues. And these freaks have unknowingly created this weak, emasculate character that starkly contrasts the towering badass that Bungie had created. It's been 20 years since we saw the chief take down a scarab with his bare hands, or take out a Covenant carrier with a single strike. Character defining moments which are worryingly absent in 343's projects. Imagine throwing him into a crossover with Doomslayer, a character defined by unstoppable power and momentum. What happens when Chief inevitably loses that fight? Microsoft knows it would be the final nail in the coffin for this character, already struggling to maintain his iconic status and relevance within the declining Xbox brand. What was supposed to be this badass, powerful, empty vessel, this 7'2", 1,000-pound giant husk for the player to control. These woke, progressive, left-wing freaks made every effort to bend this iconic character into an emotional bitch. It's a shame because Halo deserves better. The fans deserve better. But as long as the industry keeps prioritizing political correctness and this progressive experiment over quality and skilled men, we'll keep seeing these franchises go downhill. Microsoft's rejection of the Halo Doom crossover isn't just about protecting the brand, it's an admission of failure. They know Halo isn't strong enough to stand shoulder to shoulder with Doom anymore. And that, my friends, is the real tragedy. But what do you think? Could a Master Chief and Doomslayer crossover have saved Halo's reputation, or would it have just highlighted how far the series has fallen? Let me know in the comments, and if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and join me next time as we keep calling out the nonsense ruining the gaming industry. Until then, stay critical and keep gaming.